On the subject of the ego death, I wanted to talk about, what it is and what it isn't, I guess. Uh, I thought that I was reaching some point of, transcendence, and, boy was I wrong. I thought, like, my brain was going through this transformation, and then I was just gonna be able to have, like, superpowers like Goku and the, autonomous Ultra Instinct, thing. I just needed to figure out how to move. I thought like I was in this state, and I just needed to figure out how to move. You know, you're new to something, and that's what it is. I didn't think I could just be knocked out of it by somebody just pissing me off. And the thing about the ego death is it isn't like a one and done type of deal. You basically experience an ego death, and it's kind of like a teacher showing up with a bunch of assignments you didn't complete. And it's basically telling you need to complete these assignments. So, I guess, all those things, the truths videos where I was just speaking my truth, those were all unsolved and unresolved traumas that were locked in my body, and my mind. And they were gifts from the shadow self saying, hey, we got work to do. And I, have a lot of work to do. Um, so I wanted to talk about when I was living in Ackworth, my first cuddle buddy randomly came to me and started telling me she was Grease, and I think that was related to a guy called Lemon Grab from Adventure Time because she really liked Lemon Grab. And remember, this church is a fascist entity. I'm gonna try to put it in the description down below. There's this guy called Lessons of on YouTube, and he does a video with Lemon Grab and how he's just a neglected human being and he doesn't know how to connect with people through sympathy and empathy. In the thing, he talks about like Lemon Grab starts breaking into people's houses and just staring at them when they sleep. And my father used to come into the room and just stare at us while we slept, which is a very creepy thing. But what that is somebody that desperately wants to connect with you but can't. So they put you in an anesthetized state, a state where you can't hurt them and you can't react and you can't do anything they can't predict, because the only thing they know how to do is connect through control. Um, and that is how lemon grab functions. And arguably, it might be why serial killers murder women because they don't have to worry about them rejecting them if they're dead. And then, like these people do in the church, they just spin a narrative and lie. When I was at the Trickham Wendy's, the officer Fred, I remember telling him about lemon grab and Adventure Time, and I told Officer Fred to basically play a game of catch with his dad because Officer Fred clearly had daddy issues. He had abandonment issues. And he did that. He apparently got the president of the church to come out and play catch with him one day. And Lemon Grab has admit, now I understand what Fred was going on about because he came back in and said, accuse me of trying to manipulate him. Because he was like, you got me to play catch with my dad, and Lemon Grab has a catchment, and I was never that far into Adventure Time. When I watched it. I wasn't. I only caught it a series of different times. I did like the show. I just wasn't a stalwart, hard. This show's amazing. Thing. I even missed a lot of the psychological things because I didn't do dream psychology, and a lot of the show is kind of like a is a lot of dream psychology. I thought dream psychology was stupid because I had a bunch of dreams that made no sense at all. And even when I spoke to dream psychology people, they themselves were like, oh, I don't know what that is, dude. But part of dealing with the shadow self is it's kind of like a hard reset to who you were while adding to who you are, kind of like building a core self. It is, I guess, your opportunity to rebuild yourself for who you want to be, as opposed to what a bunch of arbitrary societal standards and your ego thinks. And I didn't even realize I had an ego right up until the ego death, which is really interesting. In regards to Adventure Time, there's another arc called Lemon Hope, which I guess I'm a Lemon Hope, because Lemon Hope gets saved, he escapes, and he's supposed to go back and help everybody, and he just doesn't want to because of crushing obligation, and everybody's trying to just tell him what to do. They're trying to manipulate him and all the things, just like these people have done to me. So, yeah, I guess I'm a lot like Lemon Hope in that regard. It's kind of weird that you can relate to cartoon characters. But one of the weirder things, Carl Jung said it. He said, "You're gonna want to do things. You're gonna have interest in things you haven't had interest in a long time." And for whatever reason, I have taken a huge liking to Lego. This is a rebuild of the Lord Vampire's coffin truck from Lego. It even does the thing. Let me just, yeah, like, I added some glowy parts and some things that I thought were cool. And I've been getting back into playing with Lego, which is something I haven't done probably since 2012. And it's funny because that's from the Monster Fighter series, and that's around the time I stopped playing with Lego. Not because I don't know, I just stopped playing with Lego. I'd lost interest in it, and suddenly I'm re-interested in Lego again. I used to love playing with Lego as a kid, and I think that might be associated with the ego death. Yeah. I would randomly, as a kid, tie getting special abilities to purchasing things. It's kind of like an OCD thing, where I'd be like, if I had that thing, I will have this superpower. The Lord Vampire set was supposed to give me the ability of what I called auto-adherence, the ability to adapt to any situation. Yeah, I did little goofy things like that as a kid. I think kids at some point are fairly good at spinning narratives to protect their feelings and shit, and they're really good at lying. The on the subject of fearful avoidance or whatever, my fear of intimate relationships, like, I just have never trusted people ever. The fact of the matter is I've only run into a handful of altruists in my life, and they're probably good people. I mean, they intend well, and that's the whole point of altruism, is you just mean well. The I'm kind of jumping all over the place, but yeah, just wanted to, yeah, the shit with Officer Fred was funny because he was accusing me of manipulating him, and I wasn't manipulating him. I was just being a genuine Bob. But anyways, the the fear of, it's something for a relationship psychologist. I'm not a relationship psychologist, and I don't really care for like. One of the reasons I actually never dated or anything when I was in school was, one, I was planning on killing myself after high school. But the other thing was because I have a cognitive deficiency, which is learning comprehension disorder. I didn't want to reproduce. I think there is an extreme selfishness in people, and it's funny because people describe me as selfish because I don't share my emotions and I don't let people in, and they're like, "Oh, he's selfish because he doesn't." That's my prerogative. It has nothing to do with you, and you shouldn't be trying to harass me about that. But where was I going with this? There's a lot going on in my head if you can't tell. Fearful avoidance, or the fear of intimacy. I didn't want to reproduce because I always thought whenever you meet somebody that's like autistic or defective in some way, ADD, ADHD, OCD, all these things are neurological. They're defective people, okay? And they just want to, weirdly, they just want to reproduce like baboons because they're like, oh, I'm so messed up. Oh, I'm going to mess up other people. I'm going to make people I can mess up. Like legally, I'm going to make people I'm going to mess up. Once again, I believe in marriage licenses. I would just deny these people the right to reproduce. In when I think about that, like it's always the most messed up people that are always into that kind of genealogy shit. They're just super obsessed with it for no reason. Yeah. There. I guess there's that, but yeah, that was just my personal truth is yeah, I didn't want to date or do any of those things. And I had the puppy dog love where I met this girl named Cassie, and I was just all crazy about her, and I really loved that girl. Well, puppy dog love, loved that girl, not like real relationship love. I was just totally crazy. I thought she was totally fucking amazing. But my father once told me he was so insecure in school. Anytime a girl gave him the time of day to talk to him, he immediately was like, "We're in a relationship, and I love her." And he would do that, and people would tell him he was creepy and weird because he's creepy and weird. And he would get pissed about it. And to this day, apparently, he still does that because he's never learned a damn thing about himself. I never really had that. I didn't. I was really good with the ladies in high school. Like, women thought I was absolutely hilarious, and I was always a smooth talker and all these other things. And I was a loud, obnoxious lunatic that was totally freaking insane. And I absolutely loved being totally freaking insane. Yeah. As I try to work through this homework I was given from my shadow self, just things, I think about that weird shit I was talking about when I was president and I was trying to save that guy that I guess is me in Florida. And the wives were telling, I guess my shadow self, even though he's kind of demented, does absolutely love me, because I certainly don't. So I guess one of us, I think I should make a chart of things I rejected so I can map out my shadow self psychology and get a better understanding of where he's coming from. I've always found things like this fascinating in the human mind, how there is a infinity junction of complex relationships within a person's own, there's an entire subculture and subworld inside a person's mind. I remember this thing I said is technically everybody experiences reality differently because everybody processes everything differently in their own little ways, and it's all from upbringing. It is the Freudian stuff. Your parents are your first relationships, and that's how you learn your relationships. If you have an authoritarian parent, you're going to have a kid that kind of goes through every relationship through a point of control. They have to be in control, control, control. Those people have always agitated me, and I don't really care to have them as friends because they kind of just ruin everything by trying to control shit they can't control. These idiots at this church are a big chunk of that. They're imbeciles, and they want to be in control, and the truth about control is you're never in control of shit. That's just a fact. You can feel in control all you want, but you're not. Spoilers. Yeah. On the subject of the unconscious mind, I wanted to talk about, because the shadow self is the unconscious mind. Basically, according to this Carl Jung guy, narcissists are the shadow self. That's why they hate being rejected, because they were rejected to begin with. They were the rejected parts of somebody else's psychology. And then this church flips that, and they're like, oh, now you're unconscious and you have all these traits that we gave you to make the unconscious person work in a semi-functional way, but the unconscious mind was just never designed to do that. It was never designed to do that. It is an alien state. It is something that the human brain is not supposed to do. That is why they have to destroy so many neurons, because the more complex conscious mind needs more neurons to function. They get rid of the neurons so the unconscious mind can handle the neural load through heavy metal poisoning, which is what they did to me. And it makes me wonder, because I used to be fairly good at dealing with my emotions and I literally just kind of always just got over things. I never actually processed them. I would just get over them. Uh, and whatever, dude, was just whatever happens, happens. I never really like. I remember this guy approaching me and like talking about some serious events in my life, and then me just being like, like happens. Like there's a world outside I can't control, and I accept that. These people can't do that. That's why they got to ruin life for everybody and destroy everything because they got to pretend they can control something they can't control. Um, yeah. I don't like I guess the real truth is there's no magical state that's going to help me do what I need to do. Uh there's no obviously there's nobody coming to help me cuz this church makes sure that's not going to fucking happen. In in that regard, I feel like I'm in a doom state. I do my best when people shut the fuck up and help me. And when I say shut the fuck up and help me, people, whenever I have an idea or I say something, there's immediately this judgmental, if you do that, if this, everything they know is wrong for the first part. The second part is there's a underlying need to kneecap me, to stop me from doing anything great. And people, as soon as they meet me, that happens. And I remember when I was dealing with my shadow self, I was kind of questioning it about that, and it kind of gave me a... People don't trust me because I don't care about how they feel. And because I don't care about how they feel, they don't want me to become anything because I hurt them. And because they got hurt, they have to hurt me. Which is why I will never become anything, because there's a bunch of 2-year-olds who only care about their emotions. And they would rather everybody die. They would rather this church exist. They would rather all these bad things happen as opposed to just helping me. Because that's easier than just doing the right thing. And when you coldly just say, shut up and do the right thing, that doesn't have your self-interest in it, that doesn't have these things, they get pissed because you're suddenly telling them to actually care about other people, and that's not a thing they did to begin with. They never thought about it. They never cared about it. And then they go, oh, if we just cared about other people, we would fix problems. And this church just screams, soft! Soft! When, it's not soft to care about other people. You people are too weak to care about other people because, the church creates impermanence, because if you care about somebody, they kill it. And I would argue probably everybody in this church, man, woman, and child, don't have actual real relationships, husband and wife, because they're all like, oh, the church will just murder my wife one day. If I get out of line, the church will murder me one day. The church will murder my kids, so I don't actually love them because that's easier to do. It's easier to detach from everything because I'm terrified that I'm going to get hurt because they're going to just murder my family for no damn reason. This is why you shouldn't be a part of a cult. It creates stupidity like this, and these detached people are more willing to murder people because they go, this is Monday, this is what we do, this is normal. I don't adhere to it, but whatever. I think I'm gonna cut it here because this may seem like a rant, but it was actually a lot of shadow work that I was working through. And like I said, I'm gonna try to post links to the Lemon Grab and Lemon Hope video because I relate to the Lemon Hope video, and I think every church leader in this church will relate to the Lemon Grab video, and I think that video will give them some introspective on how the world views them. And yes, everybody thinks, and if you're a member of this church, you might want to watch the Lemon Grab video because guess what? It's you. It's you. 1,000,000%.